It shattered into a million pieces all over a shopping centre car park, so that was fun.
What's up?
I'm Aidan. I was born in St Albans, and I lived there for most of my life so far. And I've spent about 10 years living overseas as well. But I would still consider St Albans as the hometown, and I now live in Bedford, of all places. I was old school licence. Mine still had the CBT on it, so I think I passed in 2000 was the year. So I think it was just coming up to my 18th birthday. Mum and Dad very kindly bought me a Renault 5 Rio, which is 1 litre of French chaos. It was a great little car. I had good fun ragging that around St Albans and the back roads and what have you. I ended up breaking the gearbox. It shattered into a million pieces all over a shopping centre car park, so that was fun. Well, from there I went immediately into Fords. I bought a Zetec S Fiesta, was the next car. That had the 1.6 16 valve engine in it, which was cool. From the Fiesta I then went on to a Focus ST170 Gen 1. Also great car, 2 litre naturally aspirated, with stupidly long gears, but good fun nonetheless. And then I had a bit of a break from cars after that. I sold the Focus to move overseas, and then I rented a car in Dubai, which is a Nissan Tida, which I don't think you can get over here. It's a Nissan hatchback sort of thing. And then that was in Dubai, and then I moved to Australia, and I was in Australia for I think 4 years before I bought another car. The first car I had in Australia was a Mercedes, it was CLK 280. That had the V6 engine in it, until it didn't, and there was a hole in the manifold, so that was good and expensive. And then I bought myself a brand new 1 Series BMW. It was a 125, which caning around Australian countryside was lots of fun, in a rear wheel drive hatchback. And then I came back to the UK, and I bought my E46 330, which I still have as my daily crap box and run around. And I also bought the Mustang. This is the 5 litre V8, naturally aspirated from Ford. It's called the Coyote. It runs around 420 horsepower from factory, some torques, which makes it go fast. It seems like every time I go to a petrol station, everyone always asks me the same thing or makes the same sort of comment. Oh, I bet you're here a lot, or how many times is it today, and so on and so forth. And realistically, you don't buy these cars for fuel economy at all. If you're in any way worried about how much the price of fuel is going to be, don't buy a V8. It's just not going to work. I don't think there was one event in my life that said, right, that's the day I got into cars. I think memories like Dad taking taking us to Silverstone as a small child. I even remember having the big bright orange ear defenders. I remember he bought us a toy Formula One car each, that we were caning around the living room when we got home and immediately broke them. So I think the memories like that. Obviously, our grandpa was big into the Formula One as well. So I used to talk to him as a younger person about the Formula One as we were growing up. And just being around the motorsport on television and watching it and listening to it developed my interest in that, which then obviously led on to cars as an older person. And then as soon as I could drive, I was out in a car. It was just something that I loved. I don't know if I'd say I was used to it, but I certainly I'm able to control it a bit better than when I first got it. It's I wouldn't have said it's a supercar because I don't think it's fast enough for that. But it is a muscle car. It has got a lot of power. In its stock form, with the stock tyres and everything else, it's quite unruly. You really have to have your wits about you to not bin it. It's one of those cars where if you make a mistake, you could quite quickly pay for it quite heavily. It's not quite as forgiving as something like an M3 or an M4 or even C63s to an extent. You know, they've got a lot more trickery around them. They tend to be a bit more clever, whereas this is just an out-and-out muscle car, point and shoot, go straight, and you're a winner, and just make a racket while doing it. I don't like regretting things with cars. I always think, it's an experience in a car no matter what happens. What do I like about it? I like everything about it. I know that's a really cliche answer, but there's not anything that I really dislike. The interior is really good considering it's a Ford. I've spent a bit of money on the car, and handling is now really good, and the power delivery is excellent. It's a lot of fun. And if I decide I want to spin it round and face the other way, I just need to bury my foot. It's great. Most of the modifications have come through suspension and trying to help it go around corners, basically.
What have we done there then?
Long list of things, really. Start at the front end, I replaced all of the control arms, both upper and lower control arms. Lower control arms have got bearing joints rather than bushed joints. I have polybushed everything. I have adjustable everything, so adjustable sway bars, adjustable drop links, adjustable toe links. There's a high degree of tunability with the suspension. It has coilovers on there anyway. So all of those things combined mean that it does actually go around corners, which, as many Mustang owners will tell you, is not its strong point. One of my all-time favourite cars, and still is to this day, is the Boss 429 Mustang from the late 60s.
What's that in litres?
It's a 7.2 litre, 7.5, something stupid, something ridiculous. I think it's a 7.2. Naturally aspirated V8, really low idle and what have you. It's the fundamental noise of American muscle. And I've always wanted one of those, could never afford one, and will never be able to afford one now, sadly. But I think that was the real trigger for me for Mustang. One of my very good friends introduced me to Mustangs, and he had 2005 Shelby GT 500. I think it was 2005. It was that era anyway, and that was hilarious. But it still had the live axle, leaf spring suspension, absolutely no handling whatsoever. But in a straight line, it was phenomenal. Then when my friend had one, and we were out in it all the time, and the attention that he used to get, and people looking on the street and asking, "Oh, where'd you get the car?" And it's something special. It's not something that they saw every day, and that spurred me on. And then they released the current iteration, well, the 2015 iteration, which is the one I bought, and I was fortunate enough to be able to go, actually, I might buy that, and be able to make that decision, and here we are.